Well, hello there, ladies and gentlemen, farming fans. Welcome back to Grizzly Bear Sims YouTube channel. I appreciate you coming back again. My name is Jerry, and it is still raining. Can you believe it? It is just after noon, 12 o'clock here local, and yeah, it's raining and the wind is howling, and I'm not sure really what we can do other than go ahead and go pick up those extra animals that we were talking about. Of course, we screwed up and we bought pigs when we meant to buy sheep and cows. So we're gonna just, we're gonna live with that, live with our mistakes, and make it all work out. But thank you for coming back once again. I appreciate that. Hope you're having a wonderful day, a wonderful week, a wonderful weekend. I hope my release schedule is working out for you guys. I believe this is the second week now, or going on the third week, where I've done the three episodes, released 3 episodes a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So this episode is actually being released on Monday, I think. I'm not working as far out on videos. I'm trying to keep my actual production, the production aspect or the recording aspect when I'm actually recording my gameplay. I'm trying to keep that closer to the actual date and time that I release the episodes, just so that if there's something that is of interest that I want to share with you, I can share that with you, and it will only be maybe a few days old. The news will only be a few days old. When I was doing Paradise Hills, that first series that I did, um, I had recorded about 10 days in advance. I had that much because I was releasing episodes every day, and I had a massive amount of material that was basically in the can, waiting for me to edit and upload to YouTube and everything. And so I would often talk about something, and I know, pretty much the entire Paradise Hill series, I was talking about 17. 17 was coming, and all the great features and everything of 17. And, unfortunately, some of that was, you guys didn't hear it um, until well after 17 had been released. So, okay, so there's our 10 sheep, 40,000. We're confirming that, and we're off. So anyway, I've tried to um, keep that distance or that timing a little bit closer. That way, if there is something that comes out, like, oh, I think we're all chomping at the bit for things like Courseplay and Follow Me and um, Auto Combine and new maps and all that kind of stuff. That if there is something that comes out and I talk about it, then it's not like it's been out for, you know, a week and a half or 2 weeks. So later this afternoon, I do have that meeting with the county down in Goldcrest Valley. We're going to go down there and meet with them. Well, it'll just be my wife and I. Obviously my wife is our business manager here on the farm, and so she'll be back from whatever she's out doing. And kids are in school, and this weather. Incredible weather. Yep, I see you, you little sheepy. He's looking out the trailer. He's wondering where he's going. It's okay, you're gonna go live on the farm and eat nice grass and drink nice water and live your life producing wool. Not to worry. There's no big bad wolves where I'm taking you. At least I don't think there are. I think this is the road I want right here. So there is a, you might remember when I was on 15, if you've been watching me that long, and I appreciate it if you have been, and I will apologize even if you've been watching me for that long, because I have certainly had some doozy of some mistakes, and I try to leave everything in. I try not to. I do some editing, but I don't edit out my mistakes. If I hit a tree or something like that, I'm gonna probably just go ahead and own that and let you see that versus cutting that out, because you could probably figure it out anyway that I was heading for a tree. Um, but there is a anyway, back to 15. If you were watching my series during FS15, you might remember that I was using a mod called Better Keyboard Steering. Now, it really doesn't have anything to do with keyboard steering, because, or at least the way I was using it, because I don't use keyboard and mouse for steering. I basically use a Logitech G27 and pedals and all that good stuff. And so we're unloading all of these guys here. Confirm. Yep, yep, yep. And there they are. So now we have, how many sheep do we have? And I'll try not to lose my train of thought and finish that story. I know I probably do that. I probably start these stories and I segue into something else and talk about this or talk about that. So yeah, I think we're okay. All right, so that, yeah, it gives us 20 sheep. So now let's go and we'll get some more cows. Spending a little bit more money than what we had planned to, just because we made that mistake and bought those pigs, but that's okay. Um, anyhow, better keyboard steering. Um, the mod, the way it worked in 15, and I know that Reefy 1952 and I believe a few other YouTubers were using that mod. And essentially, the way it worked is if you were in cab like this, and you went to turn right, if you turn the steering wheel right, the camera view would also look right, and then when you let go of the steering wheel, the camera view would snap back to the center. And if you were like turning a curve, this is kind of what it would look like. And then like if you were in outside of the cab view, like this, and you went to back up, it would automatically spin your camera around so you would actually see the back. And it actually did the same thing even if you were in cab. If you backed up, it would turn your camera view around so that you were looking at the back of your tractor. Well, long story short, and I'm sorry, I'm sometimes long-winded with my little stories, and I know I should probably take the express route instead of going the long way around with my stories, but it is what it is. But the long story short is that the Better Keyboard Steering mod seems to be kind of funky, and that's a technical term, a little funky with head tracking. And so I think that in my case, because I do have head tracking, I think I'm going to use head tracking and not use the mod. But if you are interested in that functionality, and it does really help, especially for the turning, because if you can look into the turn, it helps you, because you can see what's over there versus having to move the mouse. But so it is available for 17 if you are interested. And I haven't had my beacons on all this time. Gosh, I am such a bad driver. I probably don't even have my my headlights on. Driving down the road, we could get all sorts of fines and tickets and everything else for that. So let's see, as I record this is the 9th of November, so in the real world, this really is the day after the elections, the U.S. elections for president and many other government offices. And not going to talk about that, but it is the 9th of November, and it's still warm outside. I mean, I live in Colorado. We should by now, it should be this kind of weather. Well, maybe not rain, but it should be snow, and it should be cool, and it's not. It is. It was probably 65 today, maybe. It's getting kind of cool in overnight hours. It's getting down near freezing, about 35, something like that. But yeah, daytime highs is getting up into the mid 60s, low 70s. Nice bright sunny days. Not complaining, but certainly could use the moisture. And of course, it's almost Thanksgiving. You know, Thanksgiving is the fourth Thursday of November, so it's like the 24th or 23rd, something like that. I don't have a calendar in front of me, but yeah, it's the fourth Thursday of November. We do have a 3-day weekend coming up this weekend. This is the Veterans Day holiday. It's the day that we honor all those who have served and still serve, continue to serve. And so it's a new company holiday for us. This was actually the first year. I'll just drive outside of the cab for a little while. But it was the first year that we've had this day as a holiday, as a company holiday. And so it's a nice 3-day weekend for us. I am looking forward to it. We'll just go through town, go down the highway. But yeah, so we have the 3-day weekend coming up, and then I think we've got maybe a week and a half, and then it's Thanksgiving, if my calculations are correct. And then of course it'll just feel like no time before it's the 1st of December, and then we've got Christmas, and then New Year's. That was my autosave that kicked in that caused that stutter. But it's certainly better to have autosave running than it is to lose gameplay. But I'm going to knock on some wood here and tell you that but before I do that, I'm actually, because I don't trust myself, I'm going to save. And then I will tell you that I have yet to have a game crash in 17, and I've got maybe 60 hours or so in the game so far. I think it's been out I think it was out 2 weeks yesterday, I think, or maybe it was 3 weeks yesterday, but 2 weeks, I think. But yeah, not had any glitches or issues or anything like that. Oh, the rain has stopped. That's a good thing. Maybe these clouds will burn off and we'll have a good afternoon of nice weather and can get a few things done on the farm. course, already made a mess. It's only been a few hours since I cleaned their pen or their food area, I should say. Now, me personally, I would rather actually, I think, with regards to like the cows, as an example, I believe I would rather muck out their stall, kind of the way that we've done it in 15, versus this little versus the way that we do it in the game. And I think what I'm gonna do is just take the opportunity and go ahead and just clean up after them quickly while we're here. I did it about 6:30 this morning, game time. Got down here and cleaned up after them, but I think I'll go ahead and do that again while we're here. Doesn't hurt anything. Just run this through here really quick. But yeah, I think I would rather, I think I would actually rather muck out, again, kind of the way it was done in FS15, like on Coldborough Park Farm as an example, where you use the manure bucket and just sort of drove through, and it would pick up the hay and the manure, and of course then you would go out and pile it into the area where solid manure was kept. This is sort of an automatic process, which is okay. I mean, that's fine, but I think I think I enjoy doing that better than the food thing, because the food thing is a little bit, well, it's a little bit hokey from the sense that it's easy to get the bucket stuck under the thing, the trough, and so yeah. All right. Well, it's a nice cornfield. I'm gonna have to start thinking about. I have to start thinking about silage. Silage production on a larger scale is kind of what I'm talking about, and I think we're going to go ahead and get another load of cows. That Mary, she is a super nice woman, and she's really helped us out with our animals. And her nephew, Shawnee B, he is really doing a great job on his farm. He's about to move into the farmhouse. The folks that have been living there are in the process of moving out, and he's going to be able to move in there. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think he's got some family coming over, maybe a brother, I can't remember now. Really looking forward to meeting him. But yeah, Shawnee is doing a fine job. The people of Goldcrest Valley just love him. I think it must be the accent or something. I don't know. But they really like the guy. I mean, he's a nice guy. What's not to like about Shawnee B? I mean, fantastic guy. Well, this guy's just a Sunday driver driving on a Saturday. Oh, today is Saturday. In the game, it's Saturday. As I take a drink of my iced tea and almost hit that post. But I recovered. Yeah, we get some more cows. I'll go ahead and live with those pigs. Well, I'm not going to live with them, although I sometimes think my wife thinks that I must live with pigs. She often refers to my office as a pigsty, but I'll just own that. I mean, it was a mistake. I wasn't thinking and didn't have any intention on buying pigs, but I did, and yeah, I was going to buy sheep and buy cows because those are the money makers. So we've got 6. We can haul 6, 30,000. Yes, ma'am. Thank you, and we're off. All right, weather's clearing. That's a good thing. You can see the mountains, see the semi-blue sky up there. Nice water features. I do love this map. My only beef with this map, as we're hauling cows, my only beef with this map is the fact that I wish the farms or the animals were central, were consolidated and central to the main farm. I don't know what I was thinking. Don't know why I didn't look both directions. My apologies. But yeah, that's my only beef, I think, is the fact that the animals are spread out. I don't mind the pigs. The pigs are not that difficult to get to. It's just kind of up the hill and on the other side of the fire lookout tower. The sheep are a little further away, but not too bad. But the cows being where they are, yeah. So I was talking a few minutes ago, speaking of talking about things and then completely losing my train of thought and jumping to some other conversation, but I was talking about the fact that we need to look into our silage production on a little bit larger scale, because clearly this will give us this will be 18 cows that we own now, unless one has been born, and I don't think that's the case yet, but I could be wrong. But anyway, about 18 head of cows, dairy cows. But we need to think about silage on a little bit bigger scale than what we can produce on with our grass field and our silage wrapper and that sort of thing. That's going to work out obviously for the short term, and we will probably also mow maybe today. I think I mentioned it in the other game day. I think I mentioned that we were going to do that, and I think I just put it off. I think we'll probably do that probably the next episode, or maybe we'll start mowing this episode and then finish everything up the next episode. All right, bringing you guys some more girls here. And we're going to unload 6, and that gives us 18. And there we go. So let's just look at our statistics here. We will need to get probably some more food down here at some point, but that's looking good. Pigs are going to need some food shortly. And we've got 23. Next animal in 2 hours and 42 minutes. Next animal 162 hours on the cows. 35 hours on the sheep. So yeah, we're making some animals slowly but surely, right? Slowly but surely. This has probably been a bit of a boring episode for you guys, and I do apologize, but you know, I will admit, I haven't been, stick my head out the window there to be able to see. I haven't been making videos as long as, Mike and Shawnee B and some of those guys. And I will stop at this stop sign. But I think that, and I've watched a lot of their videos, especially all the recent stuff. I quite enjoy in the mornings as I'm enjoying my coffee before I go to the office. I typically will check YouTube, and usually if Mike or if Shawnee B or Dave or somebody has uploaded a new video, Liam, any of those guys, I'm usually watching it, and usually for my lunch because I don't always go out for lunch, and so oftentimes I will eat lunch at the office and I'll watch another video. But the thing about it is this is a farming simulation game, and especially if you're doing animals and crops and some of the other stuff, the missions or the greenhouses or things like that, those are things there's responsibilities and things that have to be done, and I try to do repetitive stuff. Some of that I try to do it on camera, but then if it's something that I've done previously, then I may you know do that off camera, because I guess if you see me clean up after the animals twice each game day, and I do that every single game day, which would mean that you would see that at least, if right now I'm kind of doing 3 episodes per game day. So you would basically see me do that in 2 different episodes probably. Yeah, that's going to get old kind of quick. So, but it's got to be done because it's sort of part of the storyline. It's part of our responsibilities as a farmer, as a small farmer hoping to become a larger farmer. All right. Well, our crops this is canola, and I think we've got barley or wheat on the other field over there. That's looking good. That should be ready to go tomorrow, I think. And just kind of taking a look at our time there. We've been going about a half hour. So I think what I will do is we're going to mow. I will start, oops, I will start mowing at least. That wasn't straight, but it's not easy with the head tracker, and maybe it's some adjustments that I can make um, to that, but it's not easy to look around. You don't have to, actually with the head tracking, you don't have to turn your head far around to actually be able to just look that direction. It's really just about an inch or so off, maybe off center. But trying to look around and look backwards, it is a little bit more of a deal. All right, let's spin around here. Cut this grass. Yeah, I would probably expect this grass to be a bit wet after the rain that we just had, but considering that that's not right. The working width. Let's bring that down. I think the working width is 9. And we'll slide that over just a little ways. We don't need our beacons on for this, and we will mow. So anyway, as I was saying, with all the rain that we just had, we probably wouldn't, in real life, we probably wouldn't mow, but I don't think the rain in Spain or the rain in Goldcrest Valley really has any effect on the grass itself. So we will just go ahead and do what we need to do because we can. Because why not? Yeah, we'll cut this grass, and probably I think we're okay on silage and hay for now. We may just basically well, I'll think about it. We're not going to do any. We're not going to rake or bale anything this episode. So if we do anything, we may like do half and half. We may pick some of the grass up, put it in our grass loft, in our hay loft, and then bale some of it and then wrap some of it. Because we are going to need to feed our animals again here soon. The pigs are obviously going to need feed first because that was the first batch of animals that we picked up was pigs, and that's been that was like the second game day or something, so we're in game day 6 now, so they're going to need feed soon. And then I think we got cows next, and then of course sheep. And I will probably do between this episode and the next episode, which will actually maybe be the last episode for this game day, I will probably do some work for some other farmers and get our income back up again so that maybe we can buy some more cows. In FS15, I usually had about 50 head, anywhere from 50 to 100 head of cattle. So it's just going to be kind of interesting to see how the food and everything. You feed them for 6 days, or you give them 6-day supply, but not sure if the food, the food thing, if it's really any different than 17 from that respect. I think the volume of food that they will consume over 6 days should be relatively similar for 50 head or 100 head as was 15. But yeah, eventually we're going to need to have a better silage solution other than wrapping bales, because that is somewhat time consuming. I mean, it's fun to do, it's interesting to do, I suppose, but I think once we get up to 50, maybe 75, 100 head of cattle, the amount of silage and total mixed rations that they're going to need is going to be much more than probably what we're going to want to deal with wrapped silage bales. At least that's just what I'm sort of thinking out loud here. Looks like the grass is actually taller than it was the first time we cut it. I don't know if this grass just keeps growing or if this is like maximum, maximum height of the grass, but it looks like there's a little more, well, there's definitely more color to it. So the wildflowers are a little bit more of a factor than what I remember from the first time that we mowed this a few days ago, a few episodes ago. The other thing with having a different silage source, so in other words, you know, cutting chaff or silage from corn as an example. The other advantage that that would maybe have for us in our farm here is that we might give us the the freedom to perhaps use this field as as a grass field, cut it a few times, accumulate quite a few hay bales, and then actually turn this back over to another crop type for a period of time, and then go back to grass if if we need it. I don't know. All right, well that is done. I know we've got a little bit more grass that we could obviously mow if we wanted to. We've got the sort of the field. We've got this little spot here. We've got this field here. Now, if you watch Disco Dave on YouTube, you'll find his YouTube channel on my featured channels list. He did something quite interesting, and that is he he basically tore down these sheds, and of course he doesn't have the hay barn where I have it. I don't even know if he has a hay barn, but he certainly didn't stick it where I did. And so he basically took all this area that's around here where this barn is, where I put the hay barn. He cut these trees down and he turned all of this, he basically extended this field all the way up to basically about, well, he left the road in between these two fields here. So he made this field, so field number 15 is from where the end is all the way to here. And then he took in all this area here. And like I said, he got rid of that and made this all much bigger, much nicer. Very nice setup. And he also enlarged, I believe, both of these fields as well. I think he took away he basically extended, I think, this field over one direction. He got rid of that barn over there and just really made these fields super massive in size and took advantage of all this other space here. So I don't know. That might be something that we might look into. Obviously, we've got our hayloft there, but um, you know, that stuff gets torn down easily, and yeah, we'll just go with that. So anyway, I think I'm going to wrap this episode up. My mouth is getting a bit dry, and I'm out of tea, and those are just that's a bad problem to have, right? So so yeah, so I'm gonna go to that county meeting this afternoon and find out what they have in store for me, and I think that'll be kind of cool. And so yeah, so we'll be back. I love this farm. This is a really great map. Of course, I'm looking forward to other maps, but really enjoying this one. Really enjoying Farming Sim 17. This is such an incredible um, upgrade to 15. You know, we were having a discussion about this on PCSG just a few days ago, and we were talking about the fact, or some of us were talking about the fact and sharing the fact that the difference between FS11 and FS13 and FS15 was pretty minimal. But the difference between FS15 and FS17 is pretty much the difference between night and day. And I'm not the only one that says that. Many others are talking about this exact same thing on their YouTube channels. And so, so I invite you to check all that out on your own. Obviously, if you if you've got 17, and hope you're having fun on your farm. And I look forward to you coming back to my farm and watching my adventures, along with Billy Bob, Jim Bob, and Stan. We all say thank you for watching, and have a wonderful day, and take care. Talk to you soon. Bye bye.